Hello, welcome to Insight. I'm Pastor Messi, your host. Today we're going to be discussing business development. In seasons like this, a lot of people want to come into businesses, all kinds. But a lot of people do know what to do, but most don't know what to do. But in the course of our discussion, I know light will come your way. I have a very special guest in the house who will be bringing this light your way. Meet my guest right after this break.
Hello people! Are you in search of a super quick, super big way to publicize your products and services? If yes, then look no further, as Lover Plus is your one-stop solution. It's easy, it's fast, and trust me, you will be glad you did. All you need to do is follow these simple steps. 1. Have a product. 2. Call any of the numbers showing on your screen. And congratulations, as your products keep flourishing. Trust me guys, we have got you covered. Lover Plus, totally you.
Welcome back. This is Insights. My guest today is Mr. Brian Oji, CEO, Inversion Company. Brian, great to have you on Insights.
It's a privilege to be on the set with you today.
Yes. So you're going to tell us more about yourself and about Inversion.
Okay.
Tell us what you do.
Inversion is a strategy and training company. We are a workforce optimizing company. So what we do is that we optimize your workforce. We ensure that your workforce can perform at their best. You see, you have a lot of people who have jobs, but they're not performing at their best. And the bosses are shouting, why can't you deliver this value? And this guy is functioning at 2%. This one is functioning at 10%. He has abilities, but his abilities remain latent. They're just inside him there. So what we do is that we try to bring out the best from people. And we do that through training. So trainings like critical thinking and problem solving. Strategic planning, how to think end to end when you're trying to do something. When you have a project, how do you think through it? Effective communication, your personal branding, goal setting, leadership. Now, these are what they call them soft skills, but they are the actual optimizers. This is what makes you that carpentry work you're doing, you can do it excellently well. This is what makes that the production work you're doing, you can do that production work excellently well. So we call ourselves workforce optimizers, your human capacity development partners.
Wow, interesting. So you can make the lioness or the lion in a man roar.
That's exactly what we do. We come into a company, and when we leave, the place is in ferment. I'm telling you, people are doing, you're wondering, oh my God, this is Wale. Wale was not like this before.
Wow.
This is Fumi. Fumi was not like this before.
Optimal performance.
Optimal performance because of new knowledge. Because new knowledge is transformational. You see, when they get this new insights, when they get new insights, you see, they begin to demand more from themselves, and by demanding more from themselves, they are able to produce better results in the workplace. So that's what.
So how has the result been so far?
It's been phenomenal. It's been phenomenal. You see, because of the kind of work I do, I'm a firm believer in the capacity of the human person, and nobody should be written off, because I have seen firsthand when we get into a company and the boss is shouting, my people can't even write a simple letter, my people don't communicate effectively, my people don't even look good, my people can't think through problems, you see. They can't problem solve by themselves. I'm solving all the problems myself, and I'm saying to them, have they been trained? Have they gotten the information? You see, a lot of them are not aware in any way that this is what is expected of me. They don't even know how to set goals. So you give them a task. You're supposed to achieve XYZ goal at the end of a year or at the end of a quarter. They don't know how to break that down into small objectives to be able to meet, because they were never taught. So when they're taught these things, you find them, okay, I can break down my 1 year goal into months, and they can begin to achieve it. And I've seen firsthand many organizations that we've been to, because we've been at this since 2014. Many organizations that we've been to, the transformation has been phenomenal. They come in and the people are able to deliver more value. Productivity is high up there, and the boss is happier. He's happy. He has less work to do because he's not shouting all the time.
Yes.
And then more importantly, the people are able to connect with their best selves yet, which is what that kind of training that goes beyond how to make a shoe. We're not really telling you how to make a shoe, but we're telling you how to do that excellently. So our courses are, like I mentioned, critical thinking, problem solving, effective communication, personal branding, goal setting, personal leadership, goal attainment, things like that.
Wow. So when you need your people to be gingered up, call Mr. Brian.
Call me.
Yes. So we are talking business development.
Yes.
What is it? What is business development?
So
and what does it entail?
So business development has like two definitions. By the definition of the word, it's kind of self-explanatory. It helps you expand the business. In other words, whatever the business goals are, you can help that business reach those goals and beyond. But in its colloquial expression, usually business development refers to getting clients, marketing, communication, the ability to bring in revenue into a business by making sales. So the business developer is at the core of the business, because no matter how great your product is, if nobody sells it, likely nobody's going to buy it. So you're talking about, people say a good product sells itself. And that's one of the business myths, which might not be completely true, because you have a lot of people who have a lot of capacity, or they've created a good product, and they're not selling, and they're wondering, what is wrong with my business? Is good. My product is good, but it's not selling, because you've got to sell it. So the job of a business developer is to push that business to the front of target customers and try to make a sale. And that is important, and even more important in a day like the day we live in, because general noise level in the world is really high. There's a lot of communication. Everybody is their own media company today. You see, I can post anything. I am media.
Yes.
You see, so with that, there's so much content, and for you to be able to make a sale, you have to first get the attention of the customer, because if the customer is not aware of your existence, they'll never be able to buy from you. So for you to get that attention in today's world now, it's a little more difficult than it was before. So you've got to rise above that noise level, and that is actually the job of a business developer. A business developer takes your file from your company, puts it in front of the table of your prospective clients. That's what the business developer is supposed to do for you.
Okay, so when we talk business, what makes an activity business?
Anything that generates income sustainably should be called a business. If you can generate income sustainably, you call that a business. And an activity aimed at exchanging value for money should be called a business. So whether it is your value in terms of a service or value in terms of the product that you've put together, if you are exchanging value for money, then you have a business. If you are exchanging value for no money, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. So if you are one of those people who you've got, you see, I just whenever they call me, I just go. You don't have a price, you've not put a price on what you're doing, you don't have a business yet. It's still a hobby. But when you put a price on it, you're exchanging value for a particular amount of money, then you're in business. Okay,
like I introduced, that a lot of people want to go into business like right now. Some know what to do, some others don't know what to do. Yes. Some have not even, spotted anyone. How do you spot a good business opportunity? And what factors?
This is a seminar discussion. How to spot a good business opportunity. So there are two ways, I think, to spot a good business opportunity. There's external and there's internal, and this is from practical experience. External, you can look out for what people need, what people are selling, or what people are buying, and put yourself in there. Things like, there are things that people always need: water, food, clothes. People will always need those. All right, so you can look out for what there's demand for, and then put yourself in there. That is a viable way to start a business. The other way is you can find out what you are good at, what you're passionate about, what is your core value, what is your core skill, what is like your gifting, all right, and provide that gifting to a world that needs it. So that's internal. So I think those are two ways that I found out in the course of my own entrepreneurial journey. And most businesses are one or the other. All right, you're either the one who looked out for an opportunity and then created something to fill that gap, or you brought out your value and that value directly meets a need. And there's some people who need what you have.
You know, there could be a particular demand, you know, for a particular product at a particular time.
Yes.
You know, you go into that, you're making money. X goes into it, you know, he makes money. Then Y thinks, wow, if A is making money and X is making money, why doesn't Z make money, you know?
Exactly.
And Z comes in, you know, gives all, I mean, he's driven into it. But then, he's not making money. But he's providing a service that is being demanded right now.
Yeah.
What's the difference? You're making money, this one is making money. The third person comes in with the same product, with the same services, and you know, nothing is happening.
And the demand is still
Yes,
on
yes.
at this time. So there are several factors that ensure business profitability. There's location. And location is not just your physical location, it is your market positioning, that is your market targeting. Who are you targeting?
Okay.
So you might come into the market, for example, someone selling recharge cards to somebody who uses a postpaid mobile phone line. Recharge card is moving. Recharge card business is great. I mean, people are making money selling recharge cards. You came in to sell recharge cards, but you are targeting someone who is using a postpaid line who doesn't need recharge cards. So there's that possibility of segmenting wrongly and targeting a market that may not exist. There's that. Then there's also the part of stickability, the curve, because the fact that you met somebody in his 5th year of business making money, this is your 1st year of business, you're not making money, it doesn't mean that there's no money in that business. It means that he's gone through a learning curve that you are yet to go through, and you may need to go through that curve as well. It might also be a case of market saturation. All right, people are already accustomed to these brands and they want to work with these brands, and then you've come in with no uniqueness whatsoever. You just came in with a product that is like this other product, but I'm already used to this other product being sold by this other fellow and I'm comfortable with it. Why should I change to you? You've come in with no novel idea, nothing new, so you may not be making as much money as they are making in the business. So there are a number of factors that makes one person enter a business that is actually profitable, but you're not making money. But all of it, I believe, can be subsumed into the second point I make, which is a learning curve. So while you're in there not making money, you're learning. So you're not doing the same thing, and hoping that one day you're going to suddenly break through. No, you're learning. oh, I should target better. I should target my customers better. Oh, okay, I should bring in something innovative, something that can stand me out. Those are all that is part of a learning curve, and if you will stay with it, as long as there's demand, it's going to sell. There's 7 billion people in this world. You can find 1,000 people to buy from you.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have this. We have small scale business. We have large scale business. What are the criteria for categorizing businesses into small scale and large scale? Because I know that there are some small businesses, call them small, maybe because of, the size, but other bigger businesses have grown out of this business. So should we categorize that as a small scale business, or?
I think it's like a human person. It's like growth. There's a teenager, there's a child, and then there's an adult. So there are different stages of growth. Howbeit, there is a definition, a standard legal definition of what a small scale business is according to the Central Bank of Nigeria. And I don't know, I think it probably applies to several other countries. But a small scale business is defined as any business that has between 11 to 300 employees and makes between 5 million to 500 million in every year. That is the CBN definition the Central Bank of Nigeria definition of a small-scale business, which, if you ask me in Nigerian context, is not really small. Okay. It's not really small, but then that's their definition, and they haven't changed it because they're not reacting to it. But okay.
You know, sometimes when somebody says small scale, yes, you know, what readily comes to mind is, you know, somebody who has a salon here, somebody who has a vulcanizing setup there, you know, those kind of.
But apparently, by definition, from this legal standpoint, it's actually a small and medium enterprise. So that's actually, they're categorized together and they're called SMEs, small and medium enterprise. So anybody between 11 to 300 employees. The other ones below 11, they're called micro.
Okay.
So that's by definition. However, here's my own thinking. I think that the size of a business is actually determined by the vision of the founder. You may have something that appears to be a small company today. However, if you're thinking big, if you're thinking that this thing that I'm selling to 12 people today, one day I'll be selling to 1,200, one day I'll be selling to 12 million, one day I'll be selling to 1.2 billion. That business may look small, but definitely it is not small because inside it's the vision. You see, so some people get to a point and they've climaxed. Some people have climaxed at 2 branches. Some want 20 branches. Some want 100 branches. Some want to be everywhere in the world. So, and what is the source of that? It's the vision of the employee, of the founder, the entrepreneur, the vision of the entrepreneur. You may be giving a big company even, a large company, but if you think small, give that company like 5 years or 10 years, you're going to be right there to the size of your mind. So that's where the job is actually being done. So what makes your business small scale or large scale is not the definition of the central bank in your country. What makes your business small scale or large scale is the size of your vision as an entrepreneur, the size of your vision. If that vision is big enough, it cannot be stopped.
Wow. So you are the factor. Right now we're going on a very, very short break. When we come back, we'll be joined by another smart entrepreneur after this break.
There is a life full of unlimited possibilities. There is a solution to every situation you may be going through. Yes, your life can be beautiful. You can experience complete transformation in every area of your life. Love World Plus Response Center is here to show you how. Contact us through our various platforms for prayers, counseling, inquiry, and contributions. Call the numbers now showing on your screen. Send an email to info@loveworldplus.org or chat live with us at real time. Log on to www.loveworldplus.org. God bless you.
Welcome back. This is Insights, and we've just been joined by Charles Odii, SMA 100 Nigeria. He's going to explain what that is. Charles, great to have you on Insights.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you for having me, Pastor.
Yes, I just told them there's something you have to explain.
Okay, right. SME 100 Nigeria, like the acronym stands, SME, Small and Medium Scale Enterprises 100. And I got asked a couple of times why the name SME 100 Nigeria. Well, it's focused on the work that we do. We are a social enterprise that's focused on supporting small and medium scale entrepreneurs with 5 basic business requirements: access to finance, access to market, capacity development, mentoring, and networks, because we believe that these are the reasons why we have a high mortality rate of small businesses in Nigeria. So we think that as a social enterprise, if we can address this problem, we can reduce the high rate of unemployed people, and then by so doing contribute to socio-economic development in Nigeria.
So, you know, there was a question I asked, before we came on set. that what, in your opinion, could be the challenges of, small-scale businesses in Nigeria. So I just discovered you are one of the answers.
Yeah, I have the answer.
Okay, just let's know what the challenges really
The challenges. Now, so the list is long, but what we've been able to do is break this list to 5 things. One is that, which is very popularized, that these entrepreneurs, these people, the biggest challenge is money. But for others, it's not basically money, and it's money in the sense that it's not access to it, it is the managing of it. So people have challenges with accessing money, other people have challenges with managing the money. And managing the money has to do with a whole lot of other areas, like how to plow the money back, what is revenue, what is income, bookkeeping, accounting, etc., etc. Accessing the money is the source of the capital, the source of the money. And then another big issue is access to markets. Because I say to a lot of small businesses that you need 3 major things to be successful. You need a skill, you need knowledge, and you need the market. One without the other 2 spells for disaster. So the market has really changed. It's now a multifaceted concept. It's no longer the places where we go and buy, like we say, Sunday markets, like our mothers used to go. So market has gone to who is ready to buy, at what price are they going to buy, what value are they getting from it. So that's turned to the access to the market that we render these entrepreneurs, and which is a big problem that these entrepreneurs face. Another is mentoring. Like we were talking earlier, the drive that the older generation, like our parents and our aunties, what they experienced in building a sustainable organization, that hasn't been passed on to the next generation. So, what our elders will see lying down with the young people will never see, even if we climb a tree. And then because they are experienced, just like when you fly, the pilot knows the route in the sky. Not everything is routable. So this mentor, we can't put a value on it. It's priceless. The mentoring itself is priceless. It's very valuable to entrepreneurs. And this holding hands, just helping these people to navigate their way through the economic situation, through what is good, what is bad, making right decisions, it's invaluable it's very valuable to this. Entrepreneurs, and it's one of the reasons why they suffer. And others is just inspiring networks. So I sell bread, I need someone who sells butter. Brian, we come together, we leverage each other's network, to grow businesses. And some of those are that could be the basic problem, getting access to good partners, getting access to a very good network, And the last but not the least, which is very important, is capacity development. Those people need to be skilled. They need to be upskilled. Skills are phasing out every day. Technology is taking over. They need to be adapting to the changing and dynamic world that we live in. And that's the focus on the work that we do. And I think that with these 5 things, entrepreneurs can actually, actually find a place. But all of this, I always say, fall under a big umbrella, which is government. Government can break and make a small business. Just one policy, a whole industry can be wiped out. So government support is very, very, very important to the success of small businesses. Okay,
let's actually talk about the effects of government policies and competition on growing businesses.
We have this summit we organize every year. It's called the Lagos Small Business Summit. We do it in Lagos, where we bring together government, academia, small businesses, and the private sector to foster conversations around doing business in Lagos. And one of the takeouts from the summit is that the government, especially in Nigeria, is so huge that a lot of these small businesses are dependent on the government. So for instance, if the government comes up to say, without this license, no small business owner can function in this industry, every small business owner becomes null and void just because of that policy. You have to go get the license and then you become certified. So just a policy like that, a government policy like that, can break the small businesses. Another is the taxes. The tax issue was very huge at the last summit. And with the taxes, we're seeing that these small businesses are actually suppressed with a lot of taxes. You know, so one of the entrepreneurs in our summit, in our network, she runs a restaurant. So she's paying taxes for the signage. She's paying taxes for even the water that comes out of the kitchen into the drainage system. She's paying the tax for that. She's paying payee tax. She's paying. So all of this was so cumbersome. And then what we recommended to the government is to streamline these taxes and to just make it one body. Because today, one government parastatal has come, and today another government parastatal has come to say, okay, you know what, radio and license tax. And the lady's like, you know what, I have no radio here, I have no TV, you know, and they're coming. And so all of this burdens the entrepreneur. All of this can break a small business owner. And the person just be like, you know what, I'm not doing it anymore. Let me dust my CV and go look for a job. You know, so what the essence of the summit and the essence of government on small businesses cannot be overemphasized. Government can help to take small businesses to the next level, especially when we know that these small businesses are the highest contributor to the GDP in Nigeria. Only in 2013, we saw that the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics has said that these small businesses contribute over 48% to the GDP of Nigeria, and they employ over 80% of the labor force. So it's only good that this government should support these people and not look like it's the government fighting them and the government acting as a hindrance to their progress or their scaling.
So let's talk about competitions, business competitions.
Yes, competition is good for the economy, it's good for the customer. Competition means that there's more option. Competition also forces you to refine your value. Competition forces you to get much better because it's important that you outdo the competitor, right? So if there's no push to innovate, if there's no push to think better, what can I do better? You see, that's what competition makes happen. So competition is good.
You know, what are the fundamental requirements for a successful business?
Wow. So there are the structural requirements, of course, for a successful business. And that's where you talk about three things: your strategy, which is how do you plan to get to point A, from point A to point B? How do you actually plan to achieve your goals? How do you plan to do that? Number two is your operations. How do you manage your day-to-day? How is your operation? And of course, thirdly is your people, because your people are the people who deliver both your strategy and your operation. So in terms of framework, I always help businesses think in terms of these three pillars. What's your strategy like? Do you even have a plan? Your strategy just means plan, all right? Your plan to move from, okay, this is where we are today, making 50 million. We want to move to making 70 million or 80 million. And this is our plan to do it. Then our operations, processes. How do we do our marketing? How do we do our selling? How do we do our recruitment? How do we do our training? All those things. How do you do your process, your operations? Then, of course, your people. How optimized are they in terms of their skill set? All right, do they have the right skills? Do you have round pegs in square holes? You know, or do you have the right people doing the right job? Are they motivated enough? Do they understand what your goals are as a business? Because there's always that disconnect I find within several companies, where the boss wants to go in direction A, but the people are not aware that the boss wants to go in that direction. And there's also the confusion when the boss's words and their what they call body language don't tally. So we want to be the greatest company in the world, but you don't care if people resume by 10 o'clock and you also resume by 12 o'clock, and then you don't care if there's no excellence. They wrote a letter, I smudged. You say, let it go, let it go, let it go. You're not serious, you see. So there's also that just to throw that in. However, in terms of entrepreneurial drive, I think that the number one pillar and the most important one is shall I call it mindset, or the mentality, the thinking of the entrepreneur is that mindset, the thinking that I'm going to get this and I'm going to be on this until I do, and I'm not going to give up, I'm not going to stop. So that culture of consistency, that commitment, because the word entrepreneur is actually a French word. It actually means to undertake. So it actually means undertake. So you undertake a responsibility, and to say that means I'm going to undertake this responsibility and carry it to XYZ place. So I think that is
and have the discipline to do
and
it.
have the discipline, the culture and say, I'm not going to go. And there are going to be days where you will feel like giving up. Of course, there are going to be such days. If you will not give up, whether or not you have all other pillars in place, if you will not give up on that thing, it's going to come to fruition eventually, as long as you're refining your style. You know, you're getting better. Some people say, I will never give up, I'll never give up. Doing the same thing, I will never give up, I'll never give up. But you better give up.
No updating, no upgrading.
You better change. You see, you've got to change, improve. But if you will keep improving and refuse to give up, you have a successful business.
I think in addition to that is, one addition to that is the customer. You know, he's spoken about all that, but what makes the business a business is someone who's paying for service. You know, so the market and the customer is just the addition to that. That's it.
Wow. So let's talk about, you know, business succession.
Okay.
You know, it's a question that people keep asking, a lot of people keep asking. Because when you travel out of Nigeria or out of Africa, you're going to see businesses that have lasted for hundreds of years. You know, they're telling you this eatery has been here for 150 years, 70 years, you know, and so on. But we don't find that in Nigeria. We don't find that in Africa. You know, when the owner dies, so dies the business. What are the factors responsible? And, I mean, how can it be handled?
One of the reasons why these businesses actually don't go beyond the first generation is because there are no procedures and structures put in place by the founders themselves. And, you know, different organizations have different departments, and you have the department for reasons. It's not because they want to just decorate the organization. I'll give you an example. I was in New York a few weeks ago, and I was speaking with a Nigerian entrepreneur. And while we're speaking, half the time he was on the phone, you know, taking calls from Nigeria, and he was answering questions like, oh, the key is there. Wow. Oh, the check that other place. Oh, that document. Okay, JPEG. This is the email address. So that shows that the bulk of the business dependent on that one man. If God forbid the man didn't make it back to Nigeria, that's the end of that business, because everything is gone with the man. Secondly, it's trade secrets. What's happened is that the entrepreneurs themselves don't document a couple of things, so we don't know what is happening at what time it should happen. You know, just like we're having this on set here. Before we got here, we were talking. We've gotten an invitation beforehand. Someone called us. All of these things have been documented. It's also should businesses. Most of these entrepreneurs and businesses don't have proper documents, and that's what happens with institutional memory. So if all of them are being employed now, and half the employees leave. They leave with the institutional memory of the organization. So when you employ new people, when there's no proper documentation, they find it hard to pick up the baton from where the other guys have left. This is just an organization. This is not even the next generation. So without proper documentation, without proper processes, without these trade secrets, you know, being shared with members of the team, it's going to be very difficult to pass on to the next generation.
Wow. We're going on a very short break. We'll come back. We'll find out if Brian has something different to say there.
Okay.
It's fresh, it's new, it's insightful.
Enjoy yourself. Do you enjoy yourself? If you can't enjoy you, nobody can enjoy you. I refuse to be broke. I refuse to fear.
Get updates of our programs on the go. Download Level Plus app today. Available on Google Play Store, Apple App Store, Windows Phone stores, and enjoy the whole new experience. Level Plus, beyond television.
Welcome back. This is Insights. We're talking business development. Yes, Brian.
Yes.
Something different to say, or?
I mean, he's spot on with his analysis.
Okay.
You know, a lot of entrepreneurs underestimate the power of writing down processes, because see, as an entrepreneur, you probably started by yourself, and then you were trying different things. Finally, you figured out a way to do this your business profitably. But you see, you've got to write it down. This is my process of sale, okay? This is where I go to buy raw materials. This is how long it takes me to transform that raw material into a product. This is where my product should sell. These are the platforms I market on. You need to write that down, because when you leave the business, somebody else should be able to pick up that thing and see, oh, this is exactly how it works. It took you, what, 10 to 20 years to figure that out, you see? So your learning curve happened, but that learning curve was not documented. So what happens is that a new person comes on, and they have to start from square one and start trying to figure it out themselves. So I think documentation is very key to succession planning. But also, there's another part of it, and we're talking about generational, transgenerational enterprise. See, where you have some businesses that have lived for so many years in other countries, and then in Africa, that's not the case. First of all, there's a general literacy of the entire continent, a general consciousness about the need for us to actually put things in place and put structure. But then there's also a situation where somebody passes on a business to the child, but that child is not equipped. That child has not been trained to be able to develop the entrepreneurial spirit or entrepreneurial drive of the parents, you see, because the parents went through what they went through that cultured them in a particular way, that gave them that entrepreneurial drive. And now I have a child. Because first of all, I want to ensure my child does not suffer for 1 second in this world. All right, I pamper my child, you know, do a lot to my child, but at the same time, I forget to groom that child to take over a business.
Pass down the value.
I forget, so I pass him the money, I give him the company, but I don't give him the culture. So he doesn't have the culture. So he meets little problems and he's unable to take it. It's like, take it, I want to sell it. You know, he gives up. I don't, this is too hard, it's too hard, because he wasn't trained. So I think there is documentation in terms of structure. There is also education, see, active education at a particular stage in the business. The entrepreneur's main role is the active education of the next generation. You have to plan for who is going to take over that leadership, and that person should be cultured. And that person does not just take over because, oh, he's my son. He's your son. Doesn't mean that he has your ideas. He may have your chromosomes, but he doesn't have your ideology. He doesn't have your culture. You know, so there's that makes businesses sustainable. And
so
if you can
grooming
do that,
and mentoring should be deliberate.
Very deliberate. It should not be left chance. It doesn't happen automatically. You see, I think, oh, when my son comes, he's going to do this, he's coming from America, he has gone to school in America. But going to America does not determine that you become a great business person. There are people who went to America, they started businesses that have failed. There are people who went to one dungeon inside Somalia, and they started businesses that became very successful. And no offense to Somalia, of course. Right. But it's just an example. The point is, there is a culture, there is resilience, and those things are not taught in school. All right, the ability to face opposition, to face obvious opposition and remain standing in spite of all the toughness that you're going through. Those are things that you learn with time. Those are things that you are taught. Those are things that you hear the experiences of others, and you build that character within yourself. So entrepreneurs, CEOs should actively educate the next generation. The next generation must be actively educated so that they can take over that position. Right? It's not enough for him to be your son, or for him to be your favorite nephew, or for him to be your favorite employee. It's important that that person is cultured actively. And succession planning must take, I know, for example, some companies call us the strategy part of our business to help them with succession planning. So every single employee has 2 people understudying them at every given time, so that if anybody leaves the system, this one can take over, you know, the process, and the business will not fall one day. Those are things that people put into their businesses that makes them last long. They don't just last long because the product is great. I mean, we can list the number of products. He was naming some already. They have great products. But the product being great is not what makes it last long. What makes it last long is that culture is perpetuated. You know, from generation to generation.
Okay, there's a wide awareness about this now. Are
There's-
people keen in? Are they making a difference now?
It is, you know, I think literacy levels have increased generally the world over. Thank God for the interconnection of the entire world today, because information technology has really, really democratized knowledge in a way that a lot of people are thinking more like the way people think all around the world. So people don't live in vacuums anymore. So yes, there is a general idea. For example, many of the SMEs that I'm aware SME 100 works with today, they are putting processes in place. They want to create business plans. They want to know this is my marketing plan. They want to know this is my process of sale. This is my route to market. So this is my route to market. If I'm entering a new market, maybe I'm moving from Lagos or I'm expanding from Lagos and I want to enter Port Harcourt. This is my route to market. This is how we plan. This is how we market our product to our customers. So people are documenting that. And so I believe that from this generation forward, you will have more businesses standing the test of time because there's more knowledge, more awareness that it's not enough for you to be Superman, you know, who had all the businesses. I mean, each one of us has an uncle or a father or somebody who he knew so many people, and when he died, nobody knew who was the person that used to supply wood for us. We used to see the wood every weekend, but nobody knew who was supplying the wood. We used to greet the man, Baba, Baba, welcome, thank you for the wood, but nobody has his phone number. So when the father passed on, nobody could bring the wood anymore. So people are beginning to document. And of course, with a show like this, we're creating more awareness of the structure, the importance of structure, documentation, and education in succession planning.
Okay, so in business development, where does collaboration come in, or where can collaboration come in?
Collaboration comes into play when there's a need for value, you know. So for instance, what we do at SME 100, we have the community of small businesses, and we provide them with access to finance, that's small microfinancing. We provide them with inspiring networks, capacity development. You know, like what Brian is doing with the strategy company, he helps to train these businesses on soft skills. He helps to train the entrepreneurs on proposal writing, business writing, because some of these things are not taught in the educational systems. And when you see the documents that some of these people have written, you start to question their education. So most of them actually also need some upskilling in that place. So I have the entrepreneurs, you know, we help them with other specific goals like digital marketing, and then Brian with the strategy company comes in with helping them to better write documents with better soft skills, you know. So that's collaboration, you know. So we come together, you know. So I have bread, he has butter, he butters my bread, I supply him bread, you know. That's
bread my butter.
So okay, could we liken that to the old days, trade by barter?
In a sense, you know, because
it's value.
We're building off a system. The current financial system is building off a barter system, and it's actually the same principle, the exchange of value, as you one for another. The only thing in this case now, we are both coming together to produce value in exchange for money. So instead of me giving him the training for free, and then him giving me his people for free, we figure out a way to get the market to pay the two of us for coming together to collaborate on this. So that's,
you know, I was actually asking you for how you met.
Children's Church.
Yes, we met 22 years ago.
Is it 22? It should be more than 22.
20.
Children's Church where?
Christ Embassy
Children's Church, not too far away.
Just down the road.
We were singing, I got big step, little feet.
You know, so, meetings like it's camp meeting 9 to 6.
Yeah, that was us. That was us.
Evangelist Eddie Wasi was one of our children's church teachers at the time. You know.
Wow.
Yes,
so these are Pastor Chris's children
yes,
right here.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Shaking everywhere.
Really interesting. So can somebody take a loan to start a business?
Well, you can take a loan to start a business.
What would be the disadvantage?
However, there are different kinds of businesses. There are even different kinds of loans and different kinds of businesses. Now, if you look in a country like Nigeria, where the CBN the Central Bank of Nigeria is lending to banks at 14%, and then the banks are lending to you at as high as 32%. and they're giving you 1 month to begin paying back. So when you collect that loan, which business are you going to start today that in 1 month is going to give you, first and foremost, let's say you do not want to make any profit, just feel like enriching the banks. It's going to give you 32% profit after principal, you know, within a month. So some people don't check that. They just think, oh, I'm getting 10 million. Let me go and collect the 10 million. No, but what is the gestation period? You collected 10 million that is going to be paid back in 3 months for a business that is not going to mature until 1 year.
Yes.
So you've put yourself in a precarious situation already. So yes, you can collect a loan to start a business, but I would greatly advise.
Not from the banks.
Of course, not from the banks. And then don't even collect a loan to start the business. Unless, of course, you have a lot of experience in that field. You have the vendors already. You already understand how that business goes. You've been working there for XYZ number of years. You know where the customers are. You have your customers confirmed. And that is rarely ever the case. All right? Because of emergencies, emergent situations, you never really know. So if you want to start out, you want to do something called proof of concept. So a lot of people who start, they are waiting and say, I wish somebody gives me 1 million naira to start my business today. But nobody's going to put that 1 million naira on you because there's no proof of concept. You have a bright idea in your head, but nobody knows if that business is going to pull through. Yes, you can explain it because you went to school and you can speak English, but it's not about speaking English. It's about you proving that concept in the smallest way possible before you can now get a loan or get some kind of investment to do it. So while you can start a business with a loan, I'll advise that start the business as small as possible with your savings if you have any. If you don't have any savings, try to collect non-interest grants from your family and friends.
I think family and friends is the way to go, you know.
Non-interest grants from your family and friends. So if anything happens that you don't like, you all can all have a family meeting and discuss whether you'll be washing plate for 2 years to pay back the loan. But yeah, so.
But what's interesting is there are other sources of starting up. It's not, so the loans are very expensive, especially in Nigeria. The interest rates are breaking businesses. But there are other places where you can go to access money to start up. You know, Brian has mentioned from family and friends. Family and friends is also very important. But, you know, crowdfunding, and you can also get equity, you know. So you need money to scale. You need money to take that thing that Brian has spoken about, the proof of concept. You can prove that you have one customer out there, and that customer can actually you know, you need enough customers to be in business, you know, so, and you have enough customers to be in business, then you can actually get some form of equity, get some people to get some buying into your business, either in form of debt, which is also not advisable, you know, but in front of equity. So the person pumps in some money, the person understands the gestation period of your business, because with technology businesses, the break-even is actually about 5 years. So if you take a loan, you know, you have to pay this 32% for over 5 years. By the fourth, fifth year, you're already out of business, and that is just when you're about to break even. So you can go for grants, you know, apply for grants, get to consult family and friends, do some crowdfunding, get some equity buying into your business, and who knows, you can just be the next best thing out of Africa. I haven't listened to Pastor Mercy on Insights.
Wow. Thank you so much, Brian and Charles, for coming on Insights. It was quite insightful.
Oh, wow.
Really insightful,
Thank you.
Educative, instructive. I'm sure you found it so. So those of you who actually wanted to go into some kind of businesses, you know, and, you know, didn't know what to do, I'm sure we've succeeded in throwing light your way. I'm sure we really did. Wow, this is the much you can take today. This is Pastor Mercy, keeping it real on Insight. God bless you.